Hey guys, welcome to my first episode of Thinking Out Loud. This is Samantha Leah, and I'm glad you're listening. A little bit about myself. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I've been interested in opening my mind and spirituality and all of that good stuff for a very long time. My father exposed me to different seminars. Like, he would go to law of attraction seminars, and he would bring me when I was like 15 years old. I'm his oldest daughter, and he was going on his healing journey and his spiritual journey, and he always chose to take me because I was curious. So everything started that way, and obviously when you're young, it doesn't really hit you until life experience comes in, but lots of principles I learned back then have stuck with me, and I'm really, really grateful for that. And I feel like right now is the time for me to really start talking about it, because obviously we're going through a lot of changes on Earth, and a lot of people feel alone, and a lot of people, are not in the best of headspaces. So I feel like me talking about my truth can help other people, and if it doesn't help you, maybe it'll trigger you, and then you could question why you're being triggered. But either way, thinking out loud is about those thoughts that run through your head that you are just intrigued by, or wondering if other people are also feeling the same way. And so that's why I created this. I have been doing music my whole life. I've been performing since I was about 3 years old. But I went away to study at the University of California, Santa Barbara when I was, 17, 18. So I studied psychology and English. And so I've always loved writing, and I've always loved reading, but I didn't realize how much I loved psychology. And then I saw the connection between some of the stuff I learned when I would join with my father at these workshops when I was younger. And I definitely saw that there was a connection. Obviously, there's pros and cons to the study of psychology in the current way that it's studied. But, I definitely saw the connection there, and it just furthered my enthusiasm about learning about our consciousness. And so that's what I'm really intrigued by. I always say, if it's not about music or consciousness, then it's not about me. So I'm not really going to know what I'm going to talk about or say. I just had an impulse to do this today, and that's how I'm going to go with it. But I was this morning thinking about how talking your truth can trigger people, because your truth isn't their truth. And I would like to talk about my own experience, because I've never put myself out in this way before. And it was for fear that I wouldn't be heard, or I would be ridiculed, or nobody would understand me. And now it's come to the point where, because the condition of the world, I feel I'm just choosing the betterment of the world over my own insecurities. So if any of what I'm saying got to one person and helped them be like, oh wow, I was thinking about that too, now I feel less alone and I feel better, then that to me is successful. Then I've been successful, and it doesn't matter that I feel weird doing it, or like an outsider, or like I'm going to get made fun of. But I will say, because I started putting these videos on Facebook, so I was putting videos out before this first episode. I put a couple of videos out called Thinking Out Loud, and then I decided I'm going to make it a podcast. And a lot of not so pleasant comments back. A lot of good comments too, but of course you have to expect you're going to get some negative feedback. Just I'm a musician, so I'm used to that, but it was almost far more cruel, and I understand why, because if I was hearing these words before I was ready to hear them, it would trigger me too. But I firmly believe that it's because there's a part inside of you that does want freedom. It seeks freedom. And your ego is keeping you bound to the material world and doesn't want you to crack it open and listen to another perspective or be open-minded about somebody else's perspective. And that's how it goes with people in general who, are fearful of people who are different than them. And I understand it fully. And it's what I realize it is an entire learning and growth experience for both people, even though for that person who just came by and was like, what are you talking about? You're stupid. It doesn't seem like much for that person, but it came into their experience for a reason. They might not be conscious about that reason yet, but hopefully it plants a seed, and maybe one day they will, something else will stumble into their life, and they will be, maybe consciously, maybe not, but they will be like, oh, I feel like I've heard something like that before. And, our mind likes similarity. So, oh, they've heard it before. Okay. Then it's starting to infiltrate a little bit. Some other information is starting to get through. And so maybe that will happen for a few of those people. But for me, I know that it has been already a very eye-opening experience for me about where I'm at. And I really, when I receive a negative comment, of course it's that first dip. It's that first, oh my God, they don't understand me. Oh my God, you know what I mean? You're going to first have that initial reaction, but I've really come to realize that we're all part of the same thing. So that person really is a part of me. That's me reflecting back to myself, my own insecurities. And it's good to see it in an open way. It's not just me in my mind talking to myself. It's good to see it out there, out in the open. Like, oh, this person said something and I wouldn't be affected by it or hurt by it if I didn't resonate with some of that as it being true. So it brings out my own insecurities so that I could stare at them right in the face. And that's really good. And that is, I think, something we're all really fearful of. We're really scared of what people think. And it's a barrier that we need to break. And it's really uncomfortable, but it's expansive. It's very expansive because you're seeing that reflection of those attributes that you talk down to yourself about. You're seeing that out in the open, not just as thoughts running through your mind that go rampant that you just don't really pay attention to. You pay way more attention to it when it's being said to you by somebody else. So I just was thinking about that this morning, and I definitely feel like it's part of my healing journey to see that and recognize, oh, that's a part of me. That's an aspect of me that I haven't yet healed. Because it wouldn't even show up if that wasn't an aspect of me that I haven't yet healed. It wouldn't even be in my awareness. And if it did come into my awareness, it wouldn't have an effect on me. So I actually really like that about what I'm doing here. And I know this is the beginning of a very, hopefully, long journey of putting out these recordings. But it's a good place to start because that is part of my own experience currently, receiving some, things that are a little not, I'm used to, none of us like to see things that hurt us. But that's a part of growing and expanding is seeing that and putting ourselves out there, receiving that backlash and saying, well, why does this hurt me? This wouldn't hurt me if I didn't resonate with some of it or believe some of that was true. And then you have to move forward with the way that you're going to choose to heal about that. And it's very interesting. So I'm excited to continue to put these videos out, these recordings out. And I'm definitely happy for whoever is here with me. And I'm learning. And we are all in this together. So it is always a good reminder to tell yourself, we are all in this together. And I love you guys. And I will be back soon.